Today, we have what seems to be an unbelievable story with one of our members, Jacqueline, who has had faced the highest adversities you can face with inflammatory bowel disease and also colon cancer, and has had some of the most amazing results we could ever hope for here at Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle. And so today, we have a longer story that we wanted to share because it's deep, it's passionate, it's a lot of intensity and heart to get the results that Jacqueline got today. So I wanted to share this longer story with you today and also let it be a testament that healing is possible and that we can dictate our health no matter how long we've been sick, how hard we've tried, all the different protocols and strategies and diets and supplements we've tried. There's always something we can do. And I hope this gives you hope, and I hope it brings you excitement and peace and conviction to keep moving forward. Happy healing. Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today to discuss your amazing case with inflammatory bowel disease. What a story indeed. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, happy to be here for sure.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
And first off, can you let everyone know what were you diagnosed with? And I know you were diagnosed with multiple things and different array, so maybe touch on that. And then how long ago? How long have you been dealing with colitis-like issues? And what was that like for your family?
Yes. So it all started, I'm about to be 33 in November. It
Hmm.
started back in 1995 when I was 3, almost 4. My mom was talking about it with her, and she just, because I don't remember this, I remember being in the hospital a little bit, but she said I was listless, was having extremely watery, bloody, blood clot stools at 3 years
At
old.
3 years old.
And she
Yeah.
just panicked, like brought me to the pediatrician. He did an x-ray.
Hmm.
It's like I was also sick too, and I had pneumonia. And then they prescribed me an antibiotic and then referred me to Vanderbilt. We lived like 3 hours away from Vanderbilt. And that was the beginning. So I had a flex sig while in the hospital, was diagnosed with indeterminate colitis.
Hmm.
They could not verify ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. There was no specific markers for either of those. So they called me indeterminate colitis. I got better. Like my mom was like, seemed to think it might have been the antibiotic that helped a little bit, but they were like, she shouldn't have taken that if she has IBD. Like that's the kind of antibiotic it was. But the
Mm.
pediatrician didn't know what it was at the time because it was before any scopes were done. So after that, it was a follow-up in February, another flex sig, still indeterminate colitis, was on sulfasalazine and folic acid. And then by June of 96, I was in remission, one
Wow.
bowel movement a day.
Good.
Um,
So you
and
you did get some results. So 4 years old, it's starting to calm down, and you're
yes,
32 years old now,
yeah,
and
third, yes, sorry.
32 years old,
Yeah,
and so, but you have never been through life without knowing this diagnosis or
correct.
being down this road. And then, as you went through your teenage years and your 20s, did it start developing again? Did you have problems with it? What happened then?
Yeah, I was really trying to think through all of this. I was totally fine, like normal bowel movements. Luckily, like I was
I know
kind
a
of
lot of parents are happy to hear that. They're like, oh,
yes,
okay. Yeah.
and it like no concerns. I mean, like I kind of was very type A, so I was very put a lot of stress on myself, so that probably didn't help. But nothing out of the ordinary, no blood, no nothing. So what I think it started to develop. Um, I basically was in remission for 20 years. Thank
Mm,
God. Like
yeah.
that's a blessing. So um, very thankful for that. And then I remember at the end of college and moving on my own, like for my first job. I remember, I mean, my diet sucked. Like I was eating Chick-fil-A, like
College food.
truck food, yeah, college food, late night, like didn't have any rhyme or reason to it. Just was ate what I want whenever. And I remember like I just was so bloated, and I would have to have a heating pad and would have to like rest after those big meals because I wouldn't like limit anything, whatever. So yeah, so I think about 2015, 16, um, was when the symptoms started, but I didn't know what they were. Like, I was just like, oh, it's gas. I'll take some Gas X. Oh, I'll
Yeah.
take a hot bath. I'll take a hot shower. So
8 or 9 years ago, right?
yes,
Because
yes,
it's now we're about to be in September of 2024,
yes,
and so it's been 8 or 9 years. We started noticing some symptoms, but yeah, a lot of people notice this. When
yeah.
did it start becoming more of a serious problem again?
The serious problem started in 2017, and I feel like I've seen other testimonies about this too. It all starts with a wellness visit. Like, I had a perfect wellness visit. Like, I had a surgery in 2016 on my wrist, and they
Uh,
flagged me for low iron, and I was like, I've had low iron my whole life. Like, I'm not
yeah,
worried about that. So that was in October. I was like, we have so much follow up with a orthopedic surgery. So I was like, let me get this done, and then we'll figure out the low iron. So my wellness visit, we discussed it. Like, we were like, I'm not concerned. Like, she was like, well, let me know if you're ever concerned about it, whatever. Literally, like, 2 weeks later, the symptoms start. I'm sitting at work. My insides feel like they're like turning like
yeah.
this. Like, I can like literally feel like right in my abdomen. I couldn't sit up. Like, I couldn't do anything. And like, for some reason, I thought I needed to eat. And I didn't bring any food because I had an appointment that day. So I like told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm going to go home, try to figure this out. Like, might not be back because I have an appointment, whatever. Well, didn't even make it home. Like, got sick driving home. So that was the beginning of it. And I actually kept a journal, and I was sick 8 times over 9 months. Went to
Hmm.
the doctor 4 different times. They did like x-rays, HIDA scans, like just blood work, urine analysis, like nothing of concern, no blockages. Every time it's just like kind of made me feel like dumb. Like, I'm like, why? Like, obviously I'm fine. Like, doctors say I'm fine. And then on the last time I got sick, my mom was in town. And she was like, this is not normal. Like, it's not food. Like, everything was like
What were you
food
experiencing?
like,
You're experiencing a food poisoning, or you're starting to get
yes.
more bowel movements and stuff like
Like, it
that?
made sense. Like the first time was after like I had a crawfish boil. Another time was after sushi. Like, I was like, it could be food poisoning. Like,
Yeah,
oh, I always like worked it out to itself. But when my mom was in town, like, she could hear my stomach. Like, it would just pop. Like, it just pop
yeah.
on. Like, I had to sleep on the couch sitting up because if I laid down, I would just throw up. Like, and I called these episodes. It would just be like the original one in March was 4 days of throwing up. I had to like move in. I was living in Jackson away from my family, and my boyfriend at the time was at school, and I moved in with them because I literally couldn't even take care of myself. They took me to the doctor, like, you know,
So, okay, so 2017, you start noticing you're getting a lot more sick.
yes.
No one's absolutely sure why. When did IBD come back into the picture at that point in colonoscopies and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
forth?
I wish I had come before because no one was getting sick. Like, my now mother-in-law was like, no one's getting sick. You don't have a virus. You don't have anything
Yeah,
that's contagious. Like, so I lost on the last day the last episode that my mom was in town for. It was October 11th and 12th. We went to the doctor, got on the scale, was down 20 pounds. And the
yeah,
nurse was just like, Jackie, like, what? She was like, this is not right. Because they were just dismissing me every single time. They were like, could you be pregnant? Could you be like sick? Like, could you have eaten something? And I was like, no, I promise, like, no. And so then they certified a CT scan. And then on October 13th, 2017, they found a mass.
they found a
And
mass.
so I get called about the mass. I'm at work. So my coworker drove me to a surgery center to meet with a surgeon. I had my first colonoscopy, but they gave me the prep. Like, I couldn't even do the prep because I was throwing up so much. So then that got delayed eventually. So it's like basically I just didn't eat for like 5 days because I had to do the scope. So I
Yeah.
didn't have anything in my system.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes out of the colonoscopy and was like, it's definitely not cancer. it's definitely IBD. Like, I'm going to refer you to a great GI. They will handle this for you. And we're like, awesome. So I got prescribed Cipro and Flagyl.
Antibiotics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was told to like only drink Ensure because I hadn't been keeping anything down. And so I kind of like took the next day off just to like kind of feel back to normal. I would always get back to normal and like go from like Ensure to saltines to like real food again. And then that night on October 19th, I got a call from the surgeon who did the colonoscopy. And he said, there are cancer cells in your colon. And, you know, like that just changed my life. And he, like, my mom was asleep, so I had to go wake her up. And he was going to refer us to someone else, a good colorectal oncologist. And so, yeah, that was the beginning of the end, you would think. So the first end.
Such an intense thing, Jackie, to go through at that age. And we can feel that of like, you know, just comes out of nowhere. You were fine for so long. And then it's, you know, not just IBD, but now it's become cancerous. And I mean, I can only imagine the weight on you and your family on that. That was 7 years ago.
Yes.
And so this October.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And, you know, after that, I know that you started using biologics and you had to do a few surgeries for the cancer. Can you tell us a little bit about those experiences? How'd you do with the biologics? How'd you do with the medications? And then how did that move you into this more holistic route using conventional and natural medicine?
Yes. So the surgery, like I met with the surgeon and, you know, even him, he was like, you don't look like you have cancer. Like that's how normal presenting I was. So he did another colonoscopy. He was like, I'm not removing anything based on someone else's pathology. So I had 2 colonoscopies within 10 days of each other. That was like the worst thing. And then once that came back, it was matched the same findings. So the reason why I like prolonged so much the symptoms was I had a mass in my ileum and cecum. So where the stool is there, it's liquid, so it could still get back past the masses. And so that's why it grew. But the thing that saved my life was this indeterminate colitis. It swelled it up to be complete blockage. So in the end,
so they found it. So the colitis was causing the problems, but then they found the masses and were able to get rid of them before they became severe.
And then but that's why the initial surgeon didn't see the cancer, because my colon was so inflamed it covered the tumors. But then when he sampled it, he said he biopsied everything. So then I had my surgery. I had a robotic subtotal colectomy in November of 2017, and 2 weeks later was declared cancer-free. I had my, very, very exciting. I had my terminal ileum or cecum, terminal ileum, appendix, ascending colon, and transverse colon basically removed. So I have my sigmoid and rectum still. And they tested 56 lymph nodes because I had 2 masses, one inside the colon and then one that grew outside the colon wall into my abdomen. 56 lymph nodes, all clear, no metastasis, no chemo, no radiation. And I was like good for a year, like didn't even get referred to a GI, even though in the pathology, it literally says like remaining colon, like inactive colitis. So like I definitely still had like IBD. And so removing the issue doesn't solve the issue.
Well, makes it less severe. So you're good for a year, and then we're getting into the 2020s. And what was it like for you now to try the biologics and live post surgery? And how did you end up coming to the S.H.I.E.L.D. program?
Yes. I mean, it was a tough one. And that first year we were so happy. I was engaged while all of this was happening. So I was planning a wedding while having cancer and everything. So I was like trying to like get through the thick of it to celebrate. But I kept pushing off the biologics. Like at my 1 year cancer-free, they found a portal vein thrombosis that they like thought could be metastasis, but it wasn't. And that's just so makes such a big star for me, like telling what like I worked on with Lori and stuff with the portal vein thrombosis and everything. So that happened. I kept pushing off the biologic, but they really wanted me to get the rest of my colon out. And then my surgeon didn't, like the GIs did, my surgeon didn't, because he was like, no, childbearing years, like we're gonna let you live, like we did the surgery for you to live your life. I want you to live your life to the fullest, and that if you want kids, I want you to have that.
Okay.
So then eventually I did mesalamine, I was on budesonide, had a really bad flare in 2020 at the peak of COVID, like couldn't really even see doctors until like May. Had a colonoscopy, it was worse. So then I reluctantly did Entyvio and didn't work. I was basically having colonoscopies every 6 months because like I wasn't a normal presenting Crohn's colitis patient. So my symptoms weren't reflecting how bad my disease actually was. And so Entyvio 8, and then after the colonoscopy that it like did not work well, went to 4 weeks. The next year I switched hospitals because I had moved, and I met with my current GI and I was like, look, we got to hit this head on. Like, I'm tired of this. What was my Calpro at? My Calpro was at 1100 when I transferred to this doctor.
And this is on Entyvio. This is post-surgery, removing almost your total colon, some of your ileum, and you've been on biologics and you still got very elevated inflammation.
Yes. So he was like, well, what do you want to do? You could do an injection or you can do infusion. I said, let's do infusion, and started with Remicade, and did that. So that failed, did every 8 weeks, every 4 weeks. Then I have another colonoscopy in May, and the May 22, and it failed obviously again. And so they were like, Stelara, let's try Stelara, or Stelara, however you say it. And this time I had previously had a really bad flare, and so I had gained a lot of weight from prednisone, and so I was like, I'm gonna do Whole30 and Hard 75 at the same time. I don't know why I did that, but I didn't do the whole thing, but it definitely affected my life and improved it. But then we moved, so it was like all lost. So I did the loading dose of Stelara, did Whole30, did Hard 75. Calpro was 116.
Wow.
That's the only time it was ever normal before Lori. So it was like
before the S.H.I.E.L.D. program.
Before the S.H.I.E.L.D. program. And then I get it tested again in August after stopping the Whole30 Hard 75 stuff. It's like 500, 481. Yeah.
And for everyone who doesn't know, Whole30 and Hard 75, it's a very extreme workout, very extreme and very specific eating habits. It's not sustainable long term.
No.
And it's just a jolt, but your body's responding to these very intense efforts. I mean, these are very, very hard efforts you're doing, and not everyone can do them. And you're into CrossFit as well. So you're
Orange Theory. That's what I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you failed Remicade, you failed Stelara, you failed Entyvio.
Mm-hmm.
You had you had almost a full colon removed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all prior. When you're looking, you got your Cal-protectin down, but it immediately shot back up. It's sitting at 500, 1200, 1300 on all these different medications.
Yeah.
What made you feel like something like the S.H.I.E.L.D. program could do any different, could really help with you having all these extreme situations?
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny because I was messaging my doctor and he was like, well, it went up. And I was like, well, I know why it went up, because I'm eating crappy and I'm not working out a lot. And he was like, I don't know if we can say that, but maybe so I think we transferred to like every 4 weeks Stelara at that point. And then at the end of 22, I was just ready to get off of it. And I had actually done a program through a nutritional therapy practitioner. And it's just about like detoxing your environment and learning what your body needs for that. And so, cause I just knew that,
you knew there were deeper root issues that weren't being seen.
Yeah. So then at the beginning of 2023, I did that, took fragrances out, the cleaning supplies, like everything, changed everything, makeup, like made sure water was filtered well, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was going on. And after that program, my Calpro was, while still on Stelara, was 1,300. And so I was just like, obviously this is not helping. And he's just like,
Yeah.
it's doing something. That's what he told me. I was like, it's the highest it's been. It's like higher than it was when I first saw you as a patient. And we're going back and forth. Like, he was like, no, like this can't happen. You have cancer history, this and this and this. And I was like, I just have to stop.
Yeah.
So then I like really prioritized like the environmental and eating, Calpro, and stop Stelara myself. And then Calpro goes down to 700.
Yeah.
Like,
a little bit lower. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, something's working. And then like the real motivating factor of starting S.H.I.E.L.D was like having a pregnancy loss that summer after trying. And so, you know, that it was like no longer just affecting me. It was like my whole family, how my future, like I saw the bigger picture, and I knew there was a connection that I didn't know where to start, you know. And my symptoms, and that's when I started sulfasalazine and folic acid, and my symptoms went down. Like I could sleep through the night, but like it was very loose, and like my energy was low and everything. And then, you know, after my colonoscopy, and that was the deciding factor of having to go. I had the colonoscopy in December of 2015, my 6-year follow-up, and they found dysplasia, and it was
of 2023 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, December of 2023.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
and
that
then
was
they
the
found
first,
more dysplasia, which is precancerous cells.
Yes. Yeah.
Again.
And there had been an area of, it was indeterminate for dysplasia for like 2 years, multiple colonoscopies. So it's like, I guess I could have seen it coming, but like I just didn't want to, because like you have to remember, like my baseline is like way different than like a normal person's baseline. Like I was like, my colonoscopies look so good. They don't look like when I had cancer. Like that was like all red and inflamed and everything. And I was like, but I knew if I wanted to go to the next chapter of my life, that changes would have to be made and decisions would have to be made for the better. And, you know, when I got that call from my GI being like, there are precancerous cells in your colon, you can either have the rest of your colon taken out, which I would have to have an ostomy at 33, because J-pouch can lead to infertility issues. And I was just not willing to risk that like during my 30s. And so once that was decided, so he was like, you can either have surgery or you can start Skyrizi. And I was like, well, I guess I'm starting Skyrizi. I had already scheduled like my meeting call with the S.H.I.E.L.D program before I even knew the final results, because I was just like sending my mom these videos. I was like
these testimonies you're doing right now,
like this has to be real. It wasn't if it was going to work. It was, this is going to work for me, because there was no other option. Like I've failed everything, you know. And that Christmas, like I met with Lori on.
Hold on. You got, so you came into the S.H.I.E.L.D program on Skyrizi, which is your fourth biologic.
Correct.
And your doctor's saying, you got precancerous cells again. We're gonna have to remove the total colon. This is gonna affect your ability to be fertile. You've been dealing with this again for 8-9 years straight.
Yes.
You've been on strict diets. You've done 75 hard, worked out. You've gotten rid of perfumes and environmental toxins. You've done all these different things, and you're on sulfasalazine, Skyrizi. You're still having inflammation. And when you first came into the S.H.I.E.L.D program, your symptoms were about 5 to 6 bowel movements a day, correct? Which isn't too bad with all the surgeries, right?
Yeah, I don't. You can't
because short bowel syndrome. Yeah.
Yes.
You were getting maybe not much blood, a tiny bit of blood, but you were getting some really strong urgency, diarrhea, undigested food in the stool. Is that correct?
Yeah, my last Calpro in November of 2023 was 588. So
588.
when I did that sample, like there was blood and there was other things. And so,
Yeah.
yes, that's all correct.
And then you also had pretty extreme bloating, gas,
Yes.
nausea, and your energy was okay, but you also
Mhm.
had gained more weight than you even wanted on you. So you're a little
Yes.
excess weight, which is
Yeah.
not a lot of people with IBD have that. It's usually the other way around where we're malnourished and underweight. And
Yes.
you're on the two medications. You joined the S.H.I.E.L.D program in December of 2023.
Yes.
So it's been about 10 months
Mhm.
since you joined. And what are your symptoms now?
Like nothing. I sleep at night. I don't get up at night.
Wait,
I
first
like
off, how many bowel
crave.
movements a day?
Oh, two, maybe three.
Two
Like,
to three after surgery, which is
yes.
crazy. I mean, that's
Yes.
amazing because a lot of
Hmm.
people, we just try to go to 4 to 5 with short bowel syndrome, depending on where the surgery is.
Mm.
Uh, no urgency, no chronic
No.
diarrhea,
Mm.
no extreme bloating and gas,
None.
none, and normal, healthy energy, great energy.
Yes. Hmm.
And your weight is, you lost about 15 pounds of healthy weight.
Hmm.
And you said yesterday was the best workout you've had. And
Like, so I felt I wasn't even ready for it because I like eating beforehand. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be ready for this. But then I killed it. I was like, this is how it should be. It should be. For sure. Hmm.
and what was your Cal-protectin?
My most recent one, or what, like,
Yes.
my most recent one was 24.
Wow. 24. And you're eating broadly. You're not on this crazy strict bubble diet. You're eating more broadly.
Mm. And that was done. I had traveled to Philadelphia and definitely had some celebration meals and
You didn't cheat.
good.
You
I'm in my,
celebrated. Okay.
yes,
So you weren't even that strict before
I
the
wasn't
24.
so
Here's the kicker. And Jack, you're going to make people think that you're lying here.
strict.
Are you on any medications?
No,
You did
haven't
all that.
been.
No
Yeah.
biologics, no
Mhm.
sulfalazine, no medications with the 24 Cal-protectin.
Yeah, no, yeah, not since May 9th, 2024 was my last dose.
May, and it's August 28th.
Hmm.
So you haven't taken any of that in 3-4 months, and your
No.
Cal-protectin was after that and shows 24. Here's the most unbelievable part of all of it. What about your latest colonoscopy?
Yeah, no active inflammation, no dysplasia. Like it literally said appearing normal. My prayer the whole time I was with the S.H.I.E.L.D program was the endoscopic score of 0. And I got a 0.
Wow. I mean, I have to say, it's like a Cinderella story. It's
Yeah.
almost too good to be true.
Mm.
And everyone listening, this is a very intense case. We cannot guarantee everyone's going to go perfect. This is not easy.
Mm.
Jackie came in here and worked her tail off. And I think, Jackie, I'd love to talk about how you got those results and the importance of it, but everyone's not the same. This is
Yeah.
very difficult to do. But man, does it light us up to
Yes.
see someone such as yourself who's been through so much suffering, so much pain, cancer-free, got rid of the dysplasia
Mm-hmm.
without medications, using natural holistic therapies.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to confirm, we did not influence you to come off the biologics. That was a personal choice. We are not someone who's anti-medications. We believe in working with medications, and a lot of times they're absolutely needed. That was a personal choice of you to say, I've already failed 3. I don't want the 4th.
Yeah, it was personal choice. I almost didn't even want to do Skyrizi in December. But Lori was the one that was like, Jack, I just met her and she was like, we need everything on that inflammation. Just start it. And if you want to come
Yeah.
off it.
So Coach Lori was saying, and that was your coach, and let's talk about her real quick, but she was saying, look, just keep it in there. So you had kept it longer because Coach Lori was saying, don't give it up yet. And because you were trying to come off immediately.
Yes, I was, yes.
Okay. So tell us how important these results are unbelievable. These are some of the best results anyone could ever hope for. I mean, this is a grand slam. Normal colonoscopy, got rid of dysplasia, cancer, without medications, got off biologics, got off sulfalazine, got our Cal-protectin normal while eating broad amounts of food without some kind of very strict nutrition plan. You're eating organic, healthy foods,
Yes.
and you got rid of all your symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been 10 months?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, how long did it take you to start seeing these results?
Immediately,
Wow.
like
So we hit bingo.
yeah,
It's not for everyone, guys. We can't do that
yeah,
with everybody. But when you came in, it was like, yep, that worked. That helped.
like,
Like we hit Yahtzee pretty quick.
yes. Because I mean, even with just the tea and the focusing on
Mucosal
the
healing
liver,
tea.
yeah, and
Mhm.
focusing on the liver. And I know I had
Liver
just had
detox. Yep.
the loading doses of Skyrizi as well. But like, keep in mind, like 6 different dosages of other biologics didn't work for me. So it's just hard for me to like really, I mean, we got results in 5 months. Yes, that's so amazing and everything, but just the beginning of it, because my story in S.H.I.E.L.D is another one, because I start S.H.I.E.L D, immediately get COVID. Like it was like just I
A
was getting
lot of weight.
left,
A
hit,
lot
and
of weight.
ride.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, we're going to start on viral load because you just had COVID. And I'm
We
like,
hit it.
sign me
We
up.
hit virals too. Yeah.
But
Well,
even 3 weeks after having COVID, my Calpro was 69.
wow. So within like a month or 6 weeks in the program, you were getting your Cal-protectin where it had never gotten before.
Yes.
Guys, again, it's about us finding different root issues that are being missed by our doctors. They're being missed by other practitioners. They're not seeing it. They're not putting the whole puzzle pieces together. But one thing you had mentioned earlier is you went on all these environmental toxin detox, but
Yes.
did they really focus on the liver? Because you can eliminate toxins in your life as much as you want, but it doesn't mean that the toxins are out of your body.
Yes.
So
So yeah.
that was probably, I would say those are maybe a few things people could really take away for you, is like really focusing on a customized mucosal healing tea every day, and then really focusing on being able to support liver drainage were two huge
Yes.
things for you. And then antivirals maybe was also really big. How important, you come into the S.H.I.E.L D program and you know how valuable, I mean, the live trainings, the professors, the community, the step-by-step program. First of all, how valuable was that for you and how different?
There's no price to put on it. Like I have my life back, and like hopefully will like be able to start my family soon. Like there's no price on that at all.
Amazing,
Very valuable.
amazing. And that's true. But we do want to make it affordable, but we have to give you
Yes.
everything. But how important was it to not only have the program, the professors, the community, the trainings, the community outreach, but also have a private coach and Coach Lori?
Yeah.
Could
Like
you have gotten these results without Coach Lori?
definitely not. Definitely not. She simplified everything, because like you have all these notes. Like I have a binder,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
my
and you have
meetings.
so much you can do and so
Yeah.
much information. It's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it?
Yeah.
It's got to be
And so
customized to you.
you just have to, she gives it all to you. You got to absorb it. I think what really helped with me is I had the environmental detox kind of before. I had started a workout routine before.
Yep.
So it was like really just adding the supplements and eating. And those first eight
And the
weeks,
detox and the
yes,
protocol and the mental health and the trauma and
yes,
a lot of different stuff in there.
a
Yeah.
lot of different stuff. But those first 8 weeks, like I remember, because I like kind of restarted the program on January 8th after I didn't have COVID anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, March 8th, am I gonna make it? Like I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But like you see results by just simplifying your foods. Like I was eating healthy, but I wasn't eating healthy for my body. My body couldn't absorb
Yeah. It wasn't
or raw
strategically made for
nuts
you.
or
Yeah.
salad or everything. Like
Yeah.
I was eating, like I love, my favorite meal used to be chips and salsa. Like I don't even like it anymore.
No, you don't
Like
want
'cause it
chips and
like hurts
salsa.
me
You do
inside.
not want
So
chips and salsa. High lectins, high spicy. You've got tons of
mhm.
glyphosate and GMOs from the corn. Corn's not doing anything good for us either. But you just have to know it. You can celebrate with it, but you'd have to
Yes.
know its highs and lows. I mean, so many main things, and I know we've taken so much time to really share in depth your story, the power of Coach Lori. I mean, your results are probably some of the top results we've ever seen in the S.H.I.E.L D program, because your case, so much not getting results, so much failure, so much intensity, and also to show that it is possible to reverse dysplasia. That is huge. That is
Mhm.
absolutely huge, especially without medications, which is something that we weren't sure of,
Mhm.
before your case. And it's really amazing to see and a lot of hope. Anyone out there who's really listened to this and really resonated with your story of failure and uncertainty and pain and maybe wants to start a family, what would be your words of advice to those people listening to your story?
it's like 10 full-time jobs, like, to do this program, but it is all worth it. Like, you have they give you such a schedule. Like, if you just do what they say, like, you will see results. And I've been very low, like, all throughout these last 7 years. And like the highest I've been is 2024. Like, that was in December. I was like, this, like, take your life. You're in the reins. Don't let, blood work and pathology like rule your life, because it doesn't have to. And if you make changes, like, hopefully you don't have to get to where I got to, like, because that's what I wish I could have done this before I had the dysplasia, but it took the dysplasia to say, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care what my doctors think. Like, I'm going to do it because it's affecting my future. And my main thing with this program is share with, like, your friends and loved ones what you're doing. Because when I had, like, before I started, like, the deep detoxing, I had, like, formed stools, like loosely formed stools, like, for the first time in like 5 years probably.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, like, that. You celebrate everything, because
Yes.
there's no win too small to celebrate, because
And
everything is important.
and I know that with everything you had a really intense, I got to do all this stuff, but
Yes.
it is doable for the average person who doesn't have experience. It's not going to
No,
be
yeah.
40 hours a week. I mean, if you devote, a few hours a day to your
Oh, yes,
routine.
yes. Well, just
Yeah.
mentally, like, because it is like, if
It's a
that's what
lot to
it feels.
learn. You're getting a
Yes.
degree
Mhm.
in
Yes.
basically in natural medicine, and it's
Yes.
customized to you, and that's why you also have a coach to make sure, but just one step at a time. And if you'll be okay.
Yes.
Um, and 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 Jackie, the last question: do you feel like you have the tools needed to keep yourself safe in the future? That you can respond to adversity? We can't eradicate adversity, but to respond to it with your shield, with things that happen in the future.
Yes, definitely. I mean, once you know what your, like, basic foods are, like, that will always help you, like, kind of re-regulate. Maybe you did too much celebrating or something, like, you know, just you go back to the basics and rebuild again. But yeah, the mental is just, you have to stay positive, and that's what it is, what the case is, honestly. And the program is for life, so you always have the trainings. Like, Rachel Turner, like, did one recently, and she just can help you with so much that you don't even know. So the mental and food together, they're so powerful, so let them work for you.